What's going on, everyone? It's Lawrence from financialthing.com doing an impromptu, I think that's the right word, I'm not entirely sure, impromptu live stream here at Saturday, 2:47 p.m. here in Orlando. The phone is blowing up. Somebody is trying to FaceTime. Let me put that on private. And what we're doing today, it's not going to be the usual Thursday evening live stream. I ran into a gentleman who I've become friends with. His name is Tim. I met him when I was in London in December. We were at a networking social event, and Tim and I got to talking, and Tim is a personal trainer in London. He works people out, gets them in shape. And we were talking about finance. You know, Tim said, well, maybe I could help you out with your fitness goals. And I said to him, well, maybe I could help you out with your financial goals. And what we decided to do was to collaborate. And I thought to document this journey, not the fitness side, but on the finance side, that I'd bring Tim on the live stream right now to kind of chat about where he is with his finances, his financial goals. He's a younger guy, so he's got plenty of time in his life to get this sorted out. So it's really more of a documentation journey to see where we can get Tim to settle. Of course, this, as always, is not considered financial advice, so anything that we chat about on the stream, please, this is just for informational purposes only. Let's bring Tim on. There he is, Tim Robinson, the man,
Hello.
the myth, the legend. Tim, in London. Where exactly in London do you live? You don't give me the street name or anything, but where are you?
The street name? No. So there's a massive phallic-shaped building in London called the Gherkin.
Yeah.
And I am. It's a very famous. You know, it's on films all over the world. And I'm very, very close to there. I'm a stone's throw, like literally a stone's throw, 5 minutes walk away from there. So yeah.
So
It
you're
sounds
right there.
quite.
Central London.
I'm
You're
right
a
in the middle
Central
there.
Londoner. But you don't have the accent. Where are you originally from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in southwest of England, in a town called Bath. Well, near Bath. It's 13 miles away from Bath. So a small town called Bradford-on-Avon.
Ah, Bradford. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I went to school in Clifton, which is not too far away from Bath. So
No, you didn't tell me.
I never told you.
I think I played your rugby team back in the day.
So, yeah, I was not on the field during those cold times. But anyway, so how old are you exactly?
33, baby.
33 years young, and you, as I understand, have very little experience in the investment world. As far as, what would you say on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the most experienced. How experienced are you with getting your financial investments in order?
Well, in terms of being on the field, taking action, as in actually getting some investments, is 0. But in terms of having read a couple of books on the matter, consulted with some people, including yourself, yeah, I think I've maybe read end to end. I've maybe read 2 books. I've read 2 books on finance end to end in my life. So 2 more than a lot of people.
What were the books?
Yeah.
Curiously.
The books were one by John DeMartini, which is called How to Make One Hell of a Profit and Still Get to Heaven. And that's it's a very, very well written book. It talks about a lot of mindset related to money, but it also talks about, it basically echoed the same thing that me and you discussed in our call, which is starting off in terms of investments, starting off with safer investments, and then as you kind of get the ball rolling, allocating some of your finances towards more volatile investments, cryptocurrencies or something like that, or just being smart about it and, not allocating all of your resources over to potentially more volatile investments like cryptocurrencies.
So you basically have 0 investments at this time in your life at 33.
Yeah.
So,
correct.
And you are a business owner, so you have your own personal training business, which requires you to pretty much, do your own DIY investing if you're going to have some hope of a retirement in the future. But right now you're kind of on the ground floor, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, which is good. That's it's a good place to start because you're starting from clean slate. You don't have any preconceived notions about doing it the right or wrong way. So my goal is to kind of steer you in the right direction and just tell you what I've done personally, and then kind of what I talk about on this channel, on the Financial Thing channel. We do a stream. By the way, Tim, every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. UK time. If you're around, you can always tune in. But so Zer0, how would you say your financial health is right now in general? How's your spending and your saving going? Have you been able to save money?
So my financial health it's almost like just starting to wake up financially. I think a lot of people in my industry, PTs or online in the fitness sector, they're very, very focused on earning a certain amount each month, and that's like their goal. But in terms of how they allocate those finances, that's not really something they pay attention to. So it's something I've become increasingly more mindful of. But I definitely, I've focused on finance. I typically tend to focus on finances a lot at the start of the year, a lot on really getting my business going, and then I tend to basically enjoy the summer and forget money exists as a thing in this world, and then put my business hat on again towards the end of the year. And I kind of want to just break out of that cycle really of thinking about money up until the point where I'm comfortable, whatever that means, and then not thinking about it, and then getting myself into a little hole that I've got to dig myself out again. I do want to become more financially responsible, basically, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say that your biggest leak is at the moment with your finances? So where do you tend to spend money where you could probably not?
It's a good question. Probably coffee.
Oh, it's funny. I just recorded a video about how much your coffee is costing you, which is really funny. I did some calculations on that, so I'm going to be posting that. I just need to edit it, but it was on the bike video. But yeah, I calculated that if you go to Costa about 3 times or 4 times a week, that over a period of 20 years, that's costing you about £24,500. Not just how much you spend on it, but what you could have put that money into, like an investment to give yourself a return. And then it gets much worse when you add another 10 years. It was something like 64,000. So be careful with the coffee.
Yeah, for sure. I don't drink really, so yeah, probably. I mean, I had 2 coffees today, so that's probably £6, $8.
Yeah, it really adds up. So what I have said to you in our previous conversations is we talked a little bit about goals. Like, where do you want to be, say, in 20 years? Do you have a goal as to say, I don't want to be working past a certain time? Do you foresee yourself working indefinitely until you're in the ground, 95 years old, 100 years old? What do you want? What's your goal?
Well, I think part of the reason when it comes to your relationship to money is I always thought like I enjoy working. I feel like by coaching people and helping people, that's kind of like how I stay alive in a way. But so I always thought I would just work forever and that'd be fine. And I do want to work forever, but at the same time, I do want some financial security. Like for example, at certain times in my life, I have thought when I'm, in bed, like, hang on a sec, like, what am I going to do in 30 years time? You know what I mean? So it's having some financial resources at my disposal in later life. That's very, very important to me. And then what you say about like more volatile investments as well. Of course, I do like the idea of, I want to make my money work for me. So I'm aware that if your money is in the bank, it will actually lose value due to inflation.
Very good. Yes, that is. That's a great point. Yeah, we talked about that on the last live stream. 7. I think the inflation numbers in the US came out 7.5%. I don't think they're much behind in the UK. So yeah, that means your money's losing spending power of 7.5% each year.
So with that being said, yeah, I want to make my money at least not do that. And of course, I think anyone that gets into investing as well, they like the idea that they can invest in something that's going to give them potentially big returns. So, I do like the idea that I could invest in something that gives me some returns that I can start to enjoy in the more immediate future, whether that's 5 years or something.
Yeah. Have you got any? Have you had any experience learning about peer-to-peer lending? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so this is what the Financial Thing channel originally was based around, was peer-to-peer lending, and that's the idea of people lending to each other. So, for instance, if you're a small business owner, instead of you going to the bank, you want to expand your personal training business, maybe you want to open a gym, you go to a peer-to-peer lending company to borrow the money versus going to a bank, and then private investors like myself and maybe hundreds or thousands of other people would loan you pieces of what you need. So one guy could loan you £100, another guy could loan you 1,000, and then it all gets pulled together, and instead of you paying the bank interest, you pay the peer-to-peer lending company interest, and then the investors get that interest, depending on how much part of the loan they have, they get an allocation of that interest back. So that's just one kind of piece of the puzzle with investing. We talk about a lot on this channel: peer-to-peer lending, crypto investing, and then stock market, which I've mentioned to you about, where I think would be a good place for you to start would be to get you an ISA, because that's not something you have. So do you know what an ISA is or not?
Internet saving account, is that what it stands for? Or am I totally wrong?
Yeah, no, it's a tax-free account where you get £20,000 that you can invest in each year, tax-free.
Yeah,
It's very flexible, and if you need that money at some point, you can get it without any tax penalty. It's the one thing I say that the government gives you as a gift, really. Even though it's your own money you're investing, we get the tax, beat out of us. Everything we do is tax, right?
Yeah.
Buy a house, tax. Sell a house, investment, tax. But this way, you got this wrapper that's tax-free. You can buy stocks and shares inside the wrapper. Other countries in the world, like the US, you can actually buy crypto inside of an ISA. But in the UK, stocks and shares, now you could put cash in there as well. But unfortunately, the interest rates are just so low right now that there really isn't any point in using cash inside an ISA, because you're getting about 0.7% at the most.
Yeah.
So, 10% of what you really need to beat inflation is what the banks are paying, which is actually a little bit better than it was a few months ago. So it was down to 0.25 or something. So the Bank of England has risen rates. But so the plan of action for you, Tim, is to get you an ISA set up, which I recommend. And I'm just going to show it on the screen. You probably won't be able to see this, but we do Vanguard. That's, I think, is the easiest place. You could start out with £500. You can open a Vanguard ISA, and what we would do from there is invest you into the Vanguard US Equity Index Tracker, which I think is a great place to invest. That basically is a bucket of 4,085 stocks as of today. You'll get invested in things like Apple, Facebook, all of the big stocks that you know and trust, all the way down to much smaller companies like, I don't know, if you say I go to page 20, let's see if you've heard of any of these. Bank of New York, AutoZone. These are a lot of American companies you might not have heard of. But some power company. You got Marriott Hotels in here. You've got, let's see what else. General Mills, they make cereal. eBay is on here. But all the way down to very, very small companies that make up a small percent of your stock holding portfolio. But it gives you an exposure to all these different thousands of stocks, and you don't have to really worry about picking and choosing what stock is going to do well, because that's the thing that most of us tend to get confused by, is the amount of choices out there. So that's the goal, is to get you set up and kind of document that journey. And then hopefully in 20 or 25 or 30 years, when you decide to maybe hang up your training or do it part-time or do whatever you want to, be a nomad, roam the world, you can look back at that account and say, wow, I finally have something in there for my future. Does that
Absolutely.
sound scary to you when you think about investing in that manner? Is your first thought, oh, this sounds a little weird? How's it sound? Is it comfortable?
Mm, yeah, I think mostly, yeah. Yeah, it's the classic human condition, right? We're not typically we're not long-term goal orientated. Like we find it very, very hard to be long-term goal orientated. Which is why which is why I think I heard you saying that, like, you almost wish you found out about this stuff a lot longer ago, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, when I was your age. I was,
But yeah,
yeah.
but at the same time, it feels good because it's actually like it's a sensible investment, and it's either going to get made or it isn't, and and that's it. You either deposit for your future or you don't, and the future's coming.
It's coming for all of us. And then the other thing that we're going to get you to do is get it set up on an auto payment. So it comes out of your account. You don't think about it. Once you've got that initial £500 in there, you can invest. I think it's 100 is the minimum after that on auto pay. But you won't miss it. That's the beautiful thing. Once it's coming out of your account, it's done. And then you'll check your account from time to time and you'll say, wow, I actually have some savings in this investment that's hopefully growing. It's a long-term thing. It's not, there's going to be ups and downs with the investment and the fluctuations, but over the long run, what we hope is that the investment will grow for you.
Fantastic, yeah.
And then maybe
Yeah.
once you get settled, we can add a little bit of Bitcoin in there just to diversify out. And
It's that, man. Yeah, because that appeals to the more the part of my nature that can see things grow quickly, and and I think according to some people I have a high risk tolerance, so I don't mind. Losing money is always okay, right? Because as soon as you've lost it, you don't have it anymore. It's all good.
I've definitely lost some in my time. It doesn't. Yeah, some people it affects more than others, but yeah, we can add some high risk in there, some higher risk, maybe like a percentage, and have a bit of a tolerance for that for you. I think it'd be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%, man. My housemate says he doesn't have the tolerance to invest in Bitcoin, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, you people spend half some of their wages down the pub. That's that's throwing some of the money away, isn't it?
It's a pretty high risk non-investment, high risk to
There
your
you go.
health, to your liver.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Every pint you drink is increasing your risk of you actually being able to access those long-term funds.
Yeah, and not only that, I have a very close friend of mine who died from. He was a very healthy drinker. He liked his booze, and he died when he was 41 years old from liver cancer. So,
When you say healthy drinker, do you mean like
I mean, he liked
not
to put it
as in?
back. No, he was a
Oh, right.
bodybuilder. He was a weightlifter, and yeah, he just used to like to drink a lot of beer. And then at 41, he got diagnosed with cancer, and he was gone 2 months later. So,
Wow. Did he take steroids as well, or?
no, I don't think so. No,
Wow.
he's just a big guy.
Yeah.
Short,
Yeah, you got
stocky,
the mind for that.
short, stocky guy. But I think the fact that you don't drink is a positive thing too. So you could put all that money away into your investing.
Yeah, man. Well, for most of the time I choose not to drink. Let's put it like that, right? That's the way it's not like I do or I don't. I didn't drink for 11 and a half months last year, and then this year I've hardly drunk just because I just feel so much better for it, man.
Hey, look, that's the hats off to you, Tim. Hats off to you. Number one, it's good that you're open to changing things, in your life as far as your financial outlook goes, because that's not always easy. A lot of people, they don't want to get started because they're afraid, or they don't want to push through the difficulties that can come with at the beginning. You got to open up your account. We got to get you set up, and a lot of people, they just don't want to deal with it, so they end up either going to a financial advisor or never doing it, and then just saving
Yeah.
money in cash, which, as you know, is a bad idea. So
So that was one of the things you explained to me about financial advisors. In fact, I was telling my friend today when I met with him, which is the financial advisors, they basically, they're incentivized to recommend you to funds that take a pretty hefty percentage, and then they take a cut of that as well. Paraphrasing, maybe I got that wrong.
No, they have different. It just depends on the funds, but yeah, for the most part, financial advisors are compensated to push certain products to private individuals like you and I, and the stuff that I recommend that people invest in, they don't get paid really very much to push those products. So they tend to like to sell things like life insurance that's tied to investing through Prudential and companies like that. And they don't always have their client's best interests at heart because they are financially compensated on the back end, which is, they don't have the cleanest fiduciary responsibility towards their clients, which I think is, unless they're fee-based. Now, some of the, I'm not saying all financial advisors are bad. I've never been here to bash them, but fee-based financial advisors I think are okay because they're more unbiased. But when they're not fee-based and they're getting paid off you every year, it's the waters can get a little bit muddy. So,
Yeah.
But you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Better to work with someone that, is not incentivized in that way, at least.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to wrap it up. Do you have any last questions, thoughts, feelings? Are you ready to do this?
Yeah, man. Time to step it up. I think it's just changing the way you think about money, really. I think it's just time to step up my game, really, and that's kind of one of the realizations that I had this year. So yeah, I've been putting a lot of work into my business, and I want to make sure that I can, not just profit from that in this immediate time, but actually continue to profit from it.
Awesome. So we'll check in with you probably in a couple of weeks and see how you're getting on with the setting up of the accounts and how you're feeling and what's going on with your business. I'm going to put the link to Tim's Instagram too when I get it from him. So if you're in London and you need a good personal trainer, this guy will get you fit and
absolutely
get you to hit your fitness goals. Right?
Shall I plug myself quickly?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So if you want to find me on Instagram, it's Tim Robinson Coaching. That's my primary platform at the moment. I do in-person training, but I also do online coaching. So a lot of you can kind of think of me as being like your fitness manager, helping you get certain behavioral patterns in place. Are you training consistently? Are you eating the way you know you should be eating? Once you have a bit of accountability in these areas, that's what can help you go to the next level. And that's how I help my clients. I mainly work with guys to help them build the body that they really want. But people don't change the way they look to change the way they look. They change the way they look to change the way they feel. And this is what it all comes down to, your relationship to yourself. So when you do good to yourself, personal integrity, you feel good about yourself. And that's true not just in fitness, but in finance too.
Sage words. Very good. All right. Hey, well, Tim, thank you very much for coming on, and we will check in with you soon. Good luck with everything.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Take care.
Appreciate it. Cheers.